Have you ever felt like life was one endless tangle of problems, as if every step you take leads you into another knot of difficulty? Whether it's personal struggles, relationships on the rocks, or those moments when everything just feels out of control, life can often leave us wondering if there's any way out. But here's the truth you might not know. The solution might be closer than you think, and it could lie in a simple yet incredibly powerful tool you've had all along. The Rosary, when prayed with intention and faith, becomes not just a series of prayers, it becomes a spiritual rope that can unravel the toughest knots of your life. And when you add Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, into the mix, that's when the real healing and liberation begin. Imagine a mother gently and lovingly unraveling a knot from your heart, guiding you through your struggles and bringing peace where chaos once reigned. That's what Our Lady does. Through her intercession, she offers us the grace and strength to release the burdens that weigh us down. In this journey, the Rosary becomes the key, unlocking divine help and offering you a new sense of freedom. It's not just about finding solutions, it's about a deep, soul-transforming release. It's a chance to heal, to be liberated, and to move forward with renewed faith. The idea of asking for help when life's challenges feel overwhelming is as old as time itself. Everyone, at some point, faces moments when things just don't seem to fall into place. It's during those times that seeking the intercession of Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, becomes a powerful tool. By turning to her in prayer, individuals call upon a divine force to help untangle the complexities that hold them back. It's not just a ritual. It's a heartfelt request for guidance and peace. By invoking Our Lady, believers trust that she, with her maternal love, can ease the burdens of their hearts. Take a moment and think about those times when you feel like you're caught in a web of troubles. There's something calming about knowing that you don't have to navigate the knots alone. Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, is a spiritual ally for those who seek relief from the struggles of life. Just like a mother who helps her child untangle a knotted shoelace, the Virgin Mary does the same for the knots that bind our hearts and minds. When we feel lost or unsure of how to move forward, this prayer offers a direct connection to a higher source of support and understanding. It's easy to get lost in the idea that we must solve everything ourselves, but trusting in a higher power can bring a much-needed shift in perspective. When we ask for Our Lady's intercession, we open ourselves to the possibility of divine assistance. By embracing her as the Untier of Knots, we allow ourselves to surrender our burdens, knowing that she will help guide us toward resolution. The prayer itself becomes a declaration of faith, a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles and that the strength of Our Lady's intercession can help clear the path ahead. In real life, this process is like asking a close friend for advice when you feel stuck. You trust that they have your best interest at heart and will offer guidance to help you through. Similarly, turning to Our Lady is an act of trust, recognizing that she holds the wisdom and grace to untangle the complications of our lives. Whether it's a personal problem, a financial burden, or a strained relationship, the prayer for her intercession opens the door to divine intervention. It's as if you're handing over the knot to her, trusting that she will work to undo it. For example, someone facing a tough decision might turn to this prayer when they're unsure of which direction to take. They might say, "Mary, Untier of Knots, please help me find clarity and peace in this decision." This simple request opens the door for guidance that may come in many forms, whether it's a feeling of peace or a sign that shows the right way forward. The beauty of this prayer is that it doesn't require eloquent words or grand gestures. It's about the sincerity of asking for help and trusting that the prayer will be answered. Life's obstacles can sometimes feel like insurmountable walls, but this prayer provides hope and a sense of assurance that, with faith, those walls can be overcome. It's a powerful reminder that through the Virgin Mary's intercession, even the toughest situations can be resolved. For believers, this prayer not only resolves problems, but strengthens their connection to the divine, offering comfort and encouragement in times of difficulty. In essence, it's a prayer that reassures us that we're not carrying the weight of the world alone. When we seek the intercession of Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, We're not just asking for our problems to go away. We're seeking the strength to endure and the clarity to navigate them. This prayer becomes a spiritual anchor, helping us face each day with renewed faith and hope. It's about understanding that, with trust and prayer, the knots of life are not permanent, and there's always a way to untangle them. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, and this is especially true when it comes to our relationship with God. When life presents us with challenges, trusting in His power becomes a key to unlocking solutions that may otherwise seem out of reach. In the context of the prayer to Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, this trust takes on a profound depth. It's not just about hoping things will work out. It's about recognizing that God's power, working through Jesus and the Virgin Mary, can untangle the most intricate problems in our lives. This prayer reminds us that we are not relying on our own strength, but on a divine power far greater than any earthly obstacle. Think about the power that lies in a small mustard seed. Just as that tiny seed can grow into something mighty, so too can our trust in God's power grow into an unshakable foundation. When we pray to the Virgin Mary, we are not just asking for a solution. We are entrusting her with the faith that she will lead us to Jesus, whose divine intervention has the power to change everything. There's a beauty in this surrender, an acceptance that God's will is always aligned with what's best for us, even if it doesn't always appear that way at first. This prayer is an invitation to let go of the desire to control every outcome. Life's complexities often arise from the feeling that we must handle everything ourselves. Yet, by trusting in God's power, we acknowledge that His understanding of the situation far surpasses our own. The Virgin Mary, as a loving and compassionate mother, serves as a bridge to that divine power, guiding us with her gentle intercession. Through her, we are reminded that we don't need to hold the weight of our struggles alone. We only need to trust that God's power will work in ways we might not immediately understand, but that will ultimately lead to healing and clarity. When you pray, it's not about asking for the easiest path. It's about having the courage to face the complexities of life, knowing that you are supported by a power beyond measure. Think of it like asking a mentor for guidance when you're lost in a sea of decisions. You trust that their experience and insight will help you see things from a different perspective. Similarly, when you turn to the Virgin Mary, you're asking for that divine guidance that leads you closer to Jesus' powerful and transformative grace. This power is not limited by time or space. Even the most complicated situations are no match for the authority that Jesus holds over all things. His sacrifice on the cross unlocked a power that can heal, restore, and untangle the toughest knots we face. The prayer to Our Lady, Untier of Knots, is a reminder that through Jesus' power, we can find resolution, peace, and clarity. The Virgin Mary's role in this is pivotal. She leads us to her Son, through whom all things are possible. One beautiful aspect of this prayer is the confidence it instills in the believer. It's not just about asking for help, but trusting that God's power, through Jesus and Mary, will work in your favor. When you say, "Untie the knots in my life," you are invoking that divine power to intervene in your circumstances. And the more you trust, the more you'll see how that trust begins to manifest in real, tangible ways, whether through a solution, a shift in perspective, or a feeling of peace amidst chaos. Trusting in God's power and the intercession of Our Lady transforms the way we approach life's difficulties. It turns fear into faith and uncertainty into hope. By surrendering our struggles and acknowledging that God's wisdom is far superior to our own, we open ourselves to divine solutions that transcend our understanding. This prayer is a powerful reminder that no matter how complex the situation may seem, God's power is always at work, untangling the knots we face with grace and mercy. There's something undeniably soothing about the rhythm of the Rosary. When recited, the prayers and the beads work together to create a peaceful cadence that calms the mind and eases the heart. It's not just about the words we say, it's about creating a moment of stillness in our often chaotic lives. By focusing on the repetition of prayers like the Our Father and Hail Mary, the Rosary offers a chance to retreat from the noise of the world and center ourselves in a place of spiritual tranquility. Each bead represents a step closer to peace, a tangible reminder that we can find rest in God's presence. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the busyness of life, but the Rosary provides a simple yet profound way to slow down and reconnect with our inner peace. Just like a warm cup of tea can soothe a tense moment, the rhythm of the Rosary can calm an anxious heart. As you hold the beads and say each prayer, you invite a sense of serenity into your spirit. Whether you're facing a stressful situation at work or dealing with personal challenges, the Rosary is a way to quiet the storms inside and allow peace to reign. Imagine trying to solve a complicated puzzle while the pieces are scattered all over the table. That's what life can feel like when we're stressed or anxious. But the Rosary works like a gentle hand that helps us start putting those pieces together. As you pray, your heart begins to settle and your thoughts become clearer. This practice doesn't just quiet the mind, it opens the soul to receive the peace that only God can provide. In a world that never seems to stop moving, the Rosary offers a sacred pause that refreshes the spirit. When you pray the Rosary, you're not simply repeating words. You're engaging in a spiritual practice that allows you to enter into God's peace. For example, if you're dealing with a difficult relationship or feeling overwhelmed by daily demands, taking a moment to pray the Rosary can offer clarity. It's a spiritual deep breath, a way to reset your emotional and mental state. Through each prayer, you align yourself with the divine, inviting peace into your soul, just as an artist clears a canvas before beginning their masterpiece. The beauty of the Rosary is that it's not just about finding temporary relief, it's about nurturing a lasting sense of peace that extends beyond the prayer itself. Just like planting a seed in the ground, the peace cultivated through the Rosary continues to grow long after the prayer is over. As you meditate on the life of Christ, His love, and His sacrifice, you're reminded of the depth of divine peace that is always available to you. The Rosary is more than a series of prayers. It's a gateway to tranquility that transforms the way you approach life's struggles. In moments of uncertainty or despair, the Rosary offers a steady hand to hold, guiding you back to peace. It serves as a reminder that, no matter how chaotic life may seem, God's presence can calm the storms within us. As you recite each prayer, you surrender your worries and let go of the burdens that weigh you down. It's like being wrapped in a blanket of divine love, knowing that peace is just a prayer away. Praying the Rosary isn't just an action, it's an invitation to allow God's peace to fill every part of your being. It helps you shift your focus from the chaos around you to the quiet strength that comes from faith. By incorporating the Rosary into your daily life, you create a rhythm of peace that becomes more natural with time. In a world that's always rushing, taking this time to calm your heart can make all the difference in maintaining inner peace. Every journey toward healing and resolution begins with a moment of humility. The prayer starts with an invocation of God's mercy, recognizing that we are imperfect beings in need of His grace. This is where the power of the prayer lies, not in our perfection, but in our openness to receiving divine forgiveness. By acknowledging our sins, we clear the space for God to work in our lives. It's an act of surrender, a recognition that in our humanity, we can't do it all alone. Asking for forgiveness is the first step toward untangling the knots that bind us. For without it, our hearts remain heavy with the burden of guilt and shame. Consider how, when you're carrying a weight for too long, it eventually becomes unbearable. The same happens when we hold on to unresolved guilt or regret. The prayer's invocation of God's mercy serves as an opportunity to release that weight. Asking for forgiveness is not just about the words, it's about the intention behind them. It's about seeking peace with God and acknowledging that His love is greater than our mistakes. By humbling ourselves before Him, we open our hearts to the possibility of healing, trusting that He will forgive and guide us toward a better path. Seeking the intercession of Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, is like turning to someone who truly understands the depth of our struggles. Just as a child goes to their mother for comfort and guidance, we turn to Mary to intercede on our behalf. Through her, we are reminded of God's infinite mercy. Her role is not just that of a passive observer. She actively intercedes for us, taking our prayers and presenting them to her Son Jesus. This connection between God's mercy, Mary's intercession, and our own need for forgiveness creates a powerful spiritual dynamic that begins to untangle even the most complicated situations. When you begin the prayer, think of it as a cleansing moment. Just as a shower washes away dirt and sweat, asking for God's mercy cleanses the soul, making it ready to receive grace. It's about acknowledging your need for divine intervention and trusting that God, through Jesus and Mary, will provide it. This act of confession doesn't have to be formal or grandiose. It's the sincerity of your heart that matters most, the willingness to open up and seek His mercy for whatever has weighed you down. The beauty of the prayer is that it doesn't just ask for forgiveness in a general sense. It invites us to reflect on the specific knots in our lives. What are the areas where we've strayed from God's path? What actions or choices need God's healing touch? By asking for forgiveness, we are opening the door for Mary's intercession to address the particular difficulties we face. It's like asking a friend for help with a very specific problem, trusting that they will understand exactly what needs to be done. Our Lady, with her deep understanding of our human struggles, knows precisely how to bring us the mercy we seek. In practical terms, invoking God's mercy helps to reset our spiritual compass. It's like recalibrating a machine that's gone off track. The prayer offers a moment to reflect, forgive ourselves, and ask for divine guidance. It's not just about the words we say. It's about the transformation that takes place within us as we invite God's mercy into our lives. When we allow ourselves to be forgiven, we create space for God's grace to flow into our hearts, untangling the complexities that we've been facing. When we seek forgiveness, we're not just freeing ourselves from guilt. We're positioning ourselves to receive the divine help we need. The prayer is an act of both personal and spiritual renewal. It's the opening of a door that leads to the possibility of untangling life's knots, one prayer at a time. Through God's mercy and the Virgin Mary's intercession, we begin to experience the freedom that comes from forgiveness, which leads us to peace and healing. The Our Father and Hail Mary are more than just words. They're profound expressions of faith, devotion, and trust in God's plan. These prayers, recited in the midst of seeking Our Lady's intercession, help us realign our hearts with God's will. The Our Father, for example, is a prayer of surrender. By beginning with Our Father, who art in heaven, we acknowledge God's sovereignty and our relationship with Him as His children. It's a humble reminder that, even amidst our struggles, we are never alone. God, as a loving Father, is always there, guiding us with compassion and care. Similarly, the Hail Mary prayer deepens our devotion to the Virgin Mary and her intercession. When we say, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, we honor her unique role as the Mother of Jesus and the Queen of Heaven. This prayer affirms our belief that Mary is an active participant in God's work, interceding on our behalf with the tenderness and power only a mother can offer. Through these two prayers, we reflect on the core of Christian faith, trust in God and the guidance of His Holy Mother. It's easy to overlook the power behind these prayers, but their simplicity is what makes them so profound. Just think about how, in times of uncertainty or fear, we instinctively turn to words that hold deep meaning for us. For example, saying the Our Father isn't just about reciting familiar words. It's about centering ourselves on the understanding that God is both near and ever-present. It's about reaffirming our trust that He will provide for us, no matter how impossible the situation may seem. In the same way, the Hail Mary is not just a repetitive phrase, but a call for Mary's loving intercession, asking for her help in bringing us closer to Christ's peace. These prayers don't merely ask for things. They serve as a way to cultivate a deeper relationship with both God and Mary. They're a declaration of our trust and devotion, not only in times of need, but in moments of gratitude as well. Consider how, in the same way we regularly check in with loved ones, praying these prayers strengthens our bond with the divine. It's a constant reminder of our dependence on God's grace and our reverence for His Mother, the Virgin Mary, who points us back to Him in every prayer. Praying these words together helps create a rhythm in our lives, a consistent pattern of turning to God in both good times and bad. For instance, if you're feeling lost or unsure, a few recitations of the Our Father can ground you in the truth that God is in control. Likewise, when you say the Hail Mary, you're asking for the Blessed Mother's gentle and powerful intervention, trusting that she will lead you closer to her Son. These prayers help us reconnect with our faith and refocus our hearts, especially in moments when our thoughts may be scattered or overwhelmed. In moments of great distress, reciting the Our Father and Hail Mary can be a way of bringing peace to the soul. It's as if these sacred words are a balm for the troubled heart. They're familiar, comforting, and steeped in centuries of tradition. Saying them reminds us that we are part of a larger, timeless story of faith, a story that binds us to believers throughout history. In these prayers, we not only seek help but also reaffirm our role in the divine narrative, trusting that God's plan will unfold in His time, not ours. The beauty of these prayers is that they are accessible to everyone, regardless of where they are on their spiritual journey. Whether you're a lifelong believer or someone just beginning to explore faith, the Our Father and Hail Mary create a bridge between you and the divine. They are simple yet transformative, helping to ground us in the understanding that we are loved, forgiven, and constantly supported by both God and the Virgin Mary. Repetition is a powerful tool in prayer, especially when invoking Our Lady, the Untier of Knots. The more we repeat our plea for her intercession, the more deeply we align ourselves with her divine assistance. Life can sometimes feel like an endless series of knots, complicated, tangled, and seemingly impossible to unravel. Yet, as we repeatedly call upon Our Lady, we invite her to intervene in ways that may surprise us. This act of repeated invocation is not just a request for help. It's a declaration of trust that she will untangle the messes we face, no matter how complex they may seem. Consider the image of a knot in a piece of string. The more you pull, twist, and struggle with it, the tighter it becomes. Sometimes all it takes is a gentle touch to loosen it. That's where Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, comes in. Her intercession doesn't just force a solution. It allows the divine wisdom to enter our hearts, untangling the most difficult situations. Repeating this invocation invites us to surrender our own efforts and trust that her maternal guidance will lead us to a resolution, whether immediate or unfolding over time. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the problems life throws at us. But when we repeatedly invoke Our Lady, we remind ourselves that we don't have to face those challenges alone. Just as we might turn to a friend who's been through similar struggles, calling on Our Lady's name is like seeking the comfort and wisdom of someone who knows exactly how to bring peace and clarity to our lives. This repeated prayer is an act of surrender, of letting go of our anxiety and allowing her to work on our behalf, removing the knots that bind us. Every time we repeat this invocation, we are not just asking for immediate solutions. We are cultivating a deep, trusting relationship with Our Lady. It's like calling upon a mentor whose wisdom can help us navigate life's most challenging moments. The more we invoke her, the more we open ourselves to receive her maternal care and guidance. The knots in our lives may not always be solved in the way we expect, but through her intercession, we trust that the resolution will come in God's perfect timing. This repetition also serves as a reminder that healing and solutions don't always come instantaneously. The knots we face in life may be deeply ingrained, and it takes time for them to be untangled. But the process itself can be transformative. Each time we invoke Our Lady, we are reminded that we are not abandoned in our struggles. We are under the protection and care of someone who understands our challenges and has the power to help us through them, one knot at a time. Just like in any meaningful relationship, the more we connect, the more we receive. By consistently calling upon Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, we build a stronger bond with her, and, through her, with God. This repeated prayer is a way of deepening our trust in her ability to intercede on our behalf. Each invocation is like a small act of faith, affirming that we believe in her power to help untangle the problems we face. Over time, we begin to see those knots loosen, both in our lives and in our hearts. In practical terms, invoking Our Lady repeatedly is an exercise in patience and trust. It's an invitation to shift our perspective from frustration and control to peace and surrender. As you pray, trust that each repetition is a step toward resolution. You're not just speaking words, you're building a relationship with the Virgin Mary, whose intercession brings healing, peace, and ultimately, the freedom that comes from having our knots untangled. Faith is the cornerstone of every prayer, and it's especially crucial when we're navigating difficult moments. The prayer invites us to lean on our faith, not just as a passive belief, but as an active force that empowers us to overcome the obstacles in our path. Just as a tree draws its strength from its roots, our faith in God provides the foundation we need to face life's challenges. By entrusting our struggles to God through the intercession of the Virgin Mary, we're reminded that faith is not just about belief, it's about action, perseverance, and surrender to God's will. The power of faith becomes even more evident when we consider the merits of Jesus Christ, which are infinite. In moments of doubt or hardship, it's easy to forget that Christ's sacrifice has already conquered all. His suffering, death, and resurrection opened the door to divine grace, making it possible for us to find healing and strength in Him. Through Mary's intercession, we are reminded that these merits are available to us, no matter how insurmountable our problems may seem. Her role is to point us back to Christ, ensuring that we remember the source of all hope and redemption. When we encounter difficulties, it's natural to focus on the obstacles in front of us. But the prayer calls us to shift our perspective. Rather than fixating on the problem, we are encouraged to turn our attention to Jesus. Faith becomes the lens through which we view our struggles. The Virgin Mary, in her loving intercession, directs us to the power of Christ's sacrifice, reminding us that no matter the knots in our lives, we have access to a grace that transcends all obstacles. By embracing this grace through faith, we are empowered to move forward with confidence and trust. This is not to say that challenges will simply vanish with prayer, but rather that our faith allows us to face them with a new sense of strength and perspective. The infinite merits of Jesus are not just historical. They are alive in us, guiding us, sustaining us, and empowering us to overcome the trials we face. Faith gives us the courage to continue, even when the road is tough, because we know that Christ's victory has already been won for us. The Virgin Mary's intercession connects us directly to this divine strength, reminding us that we are never alone in our struggles. In practical terms, faith helps us navigate the complexities of life. For example, when you face a difficult decision, having faith in God's plan can help you trust the process, knowing that He will guide you toward the right path. By turning to Mary, the Untier of Knots, you seek not just relief, but a deeper understanding of how to align your actions with God's will. Her intercession becomes a bridge, connecting your faith in Christ's merits with the practical decisions you must make in life. This focus on faith also deepens our relationship with God and Mary. It's not just about solving problems, it's about growing in trust and surrender. When we place our difficulties in God's hands, we affirm that He is the ultimate source of strength, and His infinite love is greater than anything we could ever face. With Mary as our guide, we gain the confidence to move forward, knowing that we're supported by a force far greater than ourselves. In essence, this prayer highlights that faith is the key that unlocks the door to divine grace. It's a reminder that, through Jesus Christ's infinite merits and Mary's intercession, we have everything we need to overcome life's challenges. Faith isn't just about believing. It's about actively trusting, surrendering, and opening ourselves to the healing and strength that only God can provide. As the prayer draws to a close, the heart naturally overflows with gratitude. It's a moment to reflect on all that we've asked for and to thank God and the Virgin Mary for their constant care and intercession. Gratitude is the natural response to receiving divine grace. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have been given. In this final expression of thanks, we acknowledge that, no matter the outcome, we are already blessed by God's presence in our lives. This moment of thankfulness isn't just about words. It's about recognizing the countless ways in which God works, even behind the scenes, to help us through our struggles. The Virgin Mary's power to help is undeniable, and the prayer concludes by affirming our belief in her ability to intercede on our behalf. Mary's role in the life of every believer is not just as a figure of comfort, but as a powerful advocate. We place our trust in her not because of any inherent power she has of her own, but because of her closeness to Jesus and her maternal love for us. By recognizing her as the Untier of Knots, we acknowledge that her intercession has the power to bring clarity and resolution to even the most difficult situations. Through her, we come closer to Christ, who is the ultimate source of all healing and peace. But the prayer doesn't end with gratitude and belief. It also includes a plea for perseverance in faith. This is where the true strength of the prayer lies, the understanding that faith is not always easy. Life can present us with numerous challenges, and sometimes the road feels long and uncertain. By asking for perseverance, we are not just praying for strength in the moment, but for a lasting resilience that will carry us through even the most difficult seasons. This plea isn't about asking for a quick fix, it's about requesting the endurance to continue, trusting that God's plan will unfold in His perfect timing. Gratitude, belief, and perseverance go hand in hand. When we are grateful for the divine assistance we receive, we deepen our belief in God's love and care. And when we believe, we are more likely to persevere, even when the outcome is not immediately clear. Perseverance in faith means continuing to pray, continuing to trust, and continuing to believe that, no matter the obstacles we face, God is with us every step of the way. It's this cycle of gratitude, belief, and perseverance that allows us to experience true transformation in our lives. In real life, perseverance might look like getting up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It could mean continuing to pray, even when the answers seem distant or unclear. For example, if you're facing a long-term struggle, whether it's a health issue, a relationship challenge, or financial hardship, perseverance means not giving up on the belief that God's love and Mary's intercession can make a difference. It means trusting that, over time, the knots in your life will be loosened, and clarity will come, even if it doesn't happen overnight. Through this final expression of gratitude and plea for perseverance, we recognize that prayer isn't just about seeking help. It's about growing closer to God and His Mother. It's about building a relationship of trust and surrender, knowing that with each prayer, we are shaping our hearts to be more receptive to God's grace. And as we persevere, we are reminded that we are never alone. Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, is always there, helping us untangle the complexities of life and leading us toward peace. In conclusion, the prayer offers a beautiful moment to reflect on the transformation that has already begun within the heart. Gratitude naturally flows as we realize that through prayer, we've already begun to experience the power of God's grace and the loving intercession of the Virgin Mary. It's not just about the tangible outcomes we're seeking, but about acknowledging that we are always held in God's embrace, no matter the circumstances. This final expression of gratitude isn't just a formality. It's an invitation to pause and truly feel the depth of the divine love that sustains us. Belief in the Virgin Mary's power is reinforced with every prayer, especially as we acknowledge her role as the Untier of Knots. Mary, in her unique closeness to Jesus, has a special place in God's plan. As we finish our prayer, we reaffirm that we believe in her intercession, not because of her own merit, but because of her intimate relationship with God and her deep desire to help us. Her maternal love and care, seen through her willingness to untangle the knots in our lives, are constant reminders that, no matter how tangled our problems seem, she is always there to guide us back to clarity. And then comes the plea for perseverance, a vital part of the prayer. Perseverance in faith isn't always easy, especially when facing persistent challenges or when answers don't come quickly. But this final petition is a reminder that faith is a journey, not a sprint. It's about continuing to trust and believe, even when the road ahead seems long or uncertain. It's about continuing to pray, even when it feels like there's no immediate relief in sight. Perseverance means that we keep going, knowing that God's timing is perfect and He is always at work, even when we cannot see it. This plea for perseverance is more than just a wish. It's a call to stay committed to faith, to prayer, and to trust. By asking for perseverance, we invite the strength and courage needed to face life's toughest moments. And as we persevere, we strengthen our relationship with God and Mary, allowing them to guide us more closely through each knot and challenge. This is a cycle of trust and action, where gratitude fuels belief and belief fuels perseverance. In practice, perseverance in faith might look like choosing to pray every day, even when life feels chaotic or overwhelming. It could mean holding on to faith in times of loss, illness, or heartache, trusting that God's love remains constant through it all. For example, if you're facing a personal struggle that feels never-ending, perseverance in faith means continuing to call on Our Lady to untie those knots and trusting that step by step, the resolution will come. The key is in knowing that God and Mary are always working, even when we don't see immediate results. As the prayer comes to an end, the heart is filled with both peace and anticipation. There is a quiet assurance that we are not alone in our struggles. With Mary's loving intercession and the infinite grace of Jesus, we are equipped to face whatever comes our way. The knots in our lives will be untied, and with each challenge, our faith will grow stronger, our trust deeper, and our hearts more open to the love and peace that God offers. As you reflect on the power of the Rosary and the intercession of Our Lady, the Untier of Knots, ask yourself this: what would your life look like if you truly believed in the power of prayer to untangle the knots you face? The challenges may not disappear overnight, but by embracing the faith, gratitude, and perseverance we've discussed, you'll begin to see shifts in your perspective and your circumstances. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Begin today. Pick up your rosary, say your prayers with intention, and trust that, with Mary's help, every knot you face can be loosened. Now, think about the steps you'll take. Will you make time for daily prayer, even when life feels overwhelming? Will you continue trusting, even when answers seem distant? The key is to apply everything you've learned here and take action. If you're ready to transform your life, to feel the peace that comes with trusting in God and Mary's intercession, make the decision today. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and activate notifications so you can continue learning how to grow your faith and find the healing and liberation you deserve.